The March session of Parliament rounded up in Yaoundé with 3 major bills adopted. The bill to extend the mandates of members of Parliament, the bill to extend the mandates of municipal councillors, and of course, the Congress to insert the position of the Vice President in Cameroon. And today we are asking the questions. The role of municipal MPs in Parliament, are they truly representing the people, especially those from the Northwest and the Southwest, where the 2 regions have been boiling for over 10 years. And the Pope will be visiting Cameroon from the 15th to the 18th of April 2026. And we are also asking the questions in line with the Anglophone crisis. Can the visit of the Pope soften the hearts of the agitators? Those are 2 talking points today. Stay with us as we come back to dive into the discussions proper. You're welcome back. Let's move straight away to welcome our guests for today, where I have 4 gentlemen in the studio that will be talking on the very pertinent issues we have to discuss today. I'll begin straight away from my right, where I have Yaya Emmanuel. He's a politician. He is militant of the ruling party, the CPDM, and he's also a youth parliamentarian. Emmanuel, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chia. Hyncenth. Good afternoon, my fellow panelists. Good afternoon, listeners and viewers of Canal Day International. It's another day, another pleasure to be here with you to discuss pertinent and Republican issues. We know Cameroon is changing gradually, and that's why the head of state during his swearing-in said it is a new beginning. This mandate is a mandate of hope and inspiration, and that is why we are living it. I'll be coming back to expatiate more.
Thank you so much. By you, I have Ernest Akufo. He's not a new face. He needs no other introduction. But then I will say you are a civil society actor and also a political analyst. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Hyncenth. The pleasure is shared. I want to say good afternoon to viewers of Canal 2 International out there and to my co-panelists.
Thank you so much. Mr. Dieudonné Tedjisse is the national president of the CPPDC party. He has also been here several times. It's a pleasure to have you here once again.
Thank you, Hyncenth. It's a pleasure being on this desk. I want to extend my greetings for my brothers, militants of Kupe Manongoba, especially in Bangem, Nguti, and Tombel. And then I want to expect from others, co-panelists, that we'll be working together in order to open the eyes of our population. Because what is important today in our country is to make sure that we debate and not fighting.
Yeah.
You know, we have been working in weaponizations of public debate in Cameroon, and it's not good. A debate must not be weaponized because we are sharing different opinions.
Yeah.
We must respect others' opinion, and we must understand that the management of public affairs is like a relay race. You run, you give it to others, they run, and after, and so on. It's very important to understand that before us, there was Cameroon. During us, there is Cameroon, and after us, there will be Cameroon.
There will never be an end, for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, and the 4th panelist on set today is Barrister Amungwa Nicodemus. He is a lawyer. He needs no further introduction. Barrister, you're welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Chia Hyncenth, for involving me this afternoon with these rich guys that we will be talking about really pertinent issues in this country. I think when I look on the panel, I see people that have lived in this country over a time that can talk about Cameroon with a lot of confidence. I take this opportunity to extend my warm greetings to my clients, Sisiko Ayub Tabe, Julius, and the rest of the Naira 10, and in extension, some of the detainees of the Anglophone crisis throughout the prisons in Cameroon, and some of them that are actually, as we talk, some are still being picked up. And I want to thank a particular colonel in this country, and I will come back to that because I'll be coming back to this to talk on that. one Colonel Chinju of Centre de Renseignement Militaire. I want to thank him for the good work that he's doing to enable the situation in the Northwest region to aggravate it. We have to talk about that. And I'll be coming on that. You know, I am more investigative, and I'm more a lawyer too, because once I get my facts, I get to the point. It is not the moment for us to paint wars. It is the moment for us to tell people in their faces, those that have disappointed this country and are using the unfortunate situation that is prevailing in the Northwest and the Southwest region to line their pockets. So thank you very much. The topics are very, very enriching. And I think at the close of the day, we're going to have something to take home.
Thank you very much. You indicated that as a lawyer, you are more investigative. And I want to tell our televiewers that before being a lawyer, Amungwa Nicodemus is a journalist.
Not any type of journalist.
Yes, it's an investigative journalist. So I think they understand you better. Gentlemen, before we come back, let us revisit the rundown of what has obtained in Parliament during this March session. And of course, we shall also listen to the reactions of some members of Parliament as they left the hemicycle to go back to their constituencies, if they are happy, if they are satisfied with what happened, or they are not. Curtains drawn at the hemicycle after 30 days of deliberations. A session that has put the people's representatives and lawmakers to test, following the sensitive issues tabled before them. The MPs, together with senators in the Congress, adopted a bill for the post of the Vice President in Cameroon to effect the amendment of the Constitution, despite high controversy over the dispositions of the draft law. The role of the majority prevailed as usual. Bill adopted, waiting to be promulgated by the head of state. Another remarkable action during this March session is the adoption of the bill to amend Section 170 of the Electoral Code, which gives the President of the Republic powers to prolong the mandate of municipal councillors above 18 months. And from one mandate extension to another, the members of Parliament had their own fate to decide upon, as their time was off on March 31st, with a bill from President Paul Biya to move their mandate to December 20, 2026. The lawmakers happily adopted to keep enjoying their stay at the Paul Biya's glass house. History has also recorded that it is a March 2026 parliamentary gathering that Cavalier Yege Jibril was replaced as Speaker of the National Assembly after 34 years. Datu Theodore has begun his reign at the lower house, presiding over parliamentary debates and chairing his first Congress. And closing the session this April 8, the Right Honorable Speaker tasked the MPs to embark on peace-building initiatives as they return to their various constituencies.
So I participated in the debates and the adoption of these bills. The responsibility now as Member of Parliament is for me to go back after the promulgation of the bills to explain to my grassroots populations what these bills, which would have become laws, actually entail. So they know the goodness that is in these bills. So I'm going back home very satisfied.
Well, I think the idea of the Vice President was rumored time and again, and we expected it, and it came up. Oh, there are other issues that we would have thought about. I think we've talked about the issue of trying to appease our children who have gone astray and in the bushes, that we were trying to think that if the mentioning of the English and the French at the level of the presidency and at the level of the vice president, it would have meant much to some of our children who are still in the bushes. It would have encouraged them to come out.
The modification of our constitution was the single opportunity for us to include what our population wants with this modification. You cannot go to modify our constitution in the context, political and social context in our country without talking about the age of electoral majority, which will be removed from 20 to 18 years. You cannot go to modify our constitution without talking about the duration of presidential mandate. You cannot go to the president without talking about the legitimacy of the elected president in our country. And this legitimacy cannot be a reality since we have one single round of presidential election in this country. We should go to 2-round presidential election. We ask for it. We are very sad when ending this session because we came out with pertinent mandate, pertinent amendment, and they didn't want to take it in consideration because they are in majority of CPDM here. And we come here to work for the interest of the country, not for the interest of our different parties.
You're welcome back. This is 360 Degrees, and as we are diving into the discussions, you will have the opportunity to contribute to our talking points through the number you have on your screen. Simply sending us a short SMS or a message through WhatsApp. Do not call because we are not able to take your call from here. Let me begin with President Dieudonné. Yes, you followed the parliamentary session and you've listened to those MPs. What caught your attention most as a Cameroonian during this session?
What caught my attention is the fact that most of the MPs are working for their interests. Okay. Because we cannot understand how a serious MP can go in the parliament than to defend interests of population. They spend their time voting for law, modifying constitution to create a post of vice president. And we are very disappointed because they lack legitimacy. And if you go and try to make a glance from when they were elected and where they are now, you understand that most of them have fled from their area because of war. Have they addressed the matter of war seriously? No. I've just heard Honorable Kupit Adamu, who have raised a serious problem concerning the age a young Cameroonian should be able to cast his vote.
Yes, which at the moment stands at 20.
I can understand.
He's saying that they should bring it down to 18.
For a serious country, how can you explain to those who are following us now that I can be engaged in military service at the age of 18 and unable to go and vote? How can you explain to those who are following us now, with a majority of more than 70% of populations in that age, unable to be candidate at the municipal or legislative election, but going only to vote? Today, we must understand that being MP is not a granted position to improve our personal condition. Being MP require a minimum of patriotism.
Okay.
And saying so, they have betrayed once more our population, because what has happened during this Congress in the Parliament has nothing to do with the concerns of our population.
Okay.
And that is a betrayal which is supposed to be sanctioned at the proper moment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Barrister Amungwa, 3 bills adopted in Parliament. The bill to extend the mandates of members of Parliament themselves. That one was very obvious. They cannot give you maybe a mandate of municipal councillors. And the bill tabled in Congress to constitute the position of the vice president. Barrister, were your aspirations met as far as this Congress is concerned, especially given what the president announced on 2 occasions, 31st of December and 10th of February, that reforms were going to come in?
Well, thank you very much for coming back to that, and I'll start with the Congress. If I go inverted pyramid, I start with the Congress. I want to tell you that
yes,
we are living very, very disturbing moments in the life of this country. I told you the quality of people that are on this platform should be 50 and 40, and it's unfortunate.
Except this young man here.
Except the young man, yeah.
Yes.
So it's unfortunate, really unfortunate,
yeah,
that from 1990, those of us that came to the university, we've been leaving the political...
Une image insoutenable.
...find ourselves where we are. If I come back to the Congress, I'm one of the most disappointed Cameroonian because I started off by greeting prisoners of war. Why the war in this country? Political arrangements that were made way back in 1960, they were swept aside. The Constitution of 1961 was very compelling to the effect that the form of state would never be touched in this country. This is one of the most gentlemanly agreements that would have existed and cure every other thing in this country. Behold, for Congress to have sat and they didn't address the issue of the form of state first, with the charade, unitary and decentralized states that came as a result of the AAC1 and the AAC2 that culminated with the tripartite party. In fact, we are living in another country. I don't know where our parliamentarians get their senses. If at all, somebody talked about their legitimacy. I don't even want to get there. Because if we emphasize about those from the Northwest and the Southwest region, where did they even, who even voted them?
We shall get to that.
No, come on, I'm talking about that. Yes. So now, if you ask me, were your expectations met? The Cameroon Bar Association addressed an issue. Way back in 2016, across 2017, when the two regions were bubbling on issues of marginalization, before warmongers entered, they burned the flag of the country, Ayuk Tabe, they want to upset the country, all of that, they arrested them, they kept them in prison. They were coming in to ask just for basic reforms. Because the constitution of this country is to the effect that Cameroon is a bilingual country and a bijura country. And we would have used the potencies of these elements to build one of the most exemplary countries in this world.
Yes.
We would have been the best country. But behold, some people sit in Yaoundé. They call others our brothers, no Fred the Northwest. But deep in their heart, they are not their brothers. What happened, the charade that happened in Parliament? The Cameroon Bar Association addressed this issue of the common law bench. When lawyers came up, we wanted a system, not even challenging the Supreme Court of Cameroon, because we would have been having the common law aspect of the Supreme Court and that of the Cameroon Bar Association talked about that. We needed wider reforms that would have touched and impacted on even resolving the problem, the crisis in the Northwest and the Southwest region. But unfortunately, they decided to give overwhelming powers
to a man,
to a president.
Une image
That is already exiting. It is unfortunate for our country. And that you are talking about MPs. MPs, I wouldn't want to talk about them. That is why in one moment I told you on this platform, all of us should not do politics. But I don't see them as politicians, because this is betraying. It is an anathema that they would have acted the way they acted. So, in fact, my expectations, don't talk about the extension of the mandates of the parliamentarian. That was the only way. Because if you go by the elections, the presidential elections, you will discover what happened in the Northwest and the Southwest region. This country is not ready for any other elections because they knew they were going to get a serious backslash.
You mean the country or the CPDM?
I mean the party.
Okay.
Because
the ruling
party moving from 80 or 70-something% down to 50-something%, the effervescence was already at a level. The proportion was at a level that you could not control, and they knew that they were going to bash them out.
Okay.
But no matter what happens, go to Congo, go to Uganda, look at these countries. People that had this type of parties, those parties were extinct after them. We don't pray that the ruling party is extinct, but the method with which they want to stay in power, we are afraid for this country.
Okay.
We are afraid for the country. Thank you very much.
Ernest Akufo, I will be coming to you. I see you boiling within. But let me go to Emmanuel first. The 3 bills are adopted. Are you happy, especially with the prolongation of the mandates of MPs and municipal councillors?
Thank you. I was almost diverted from the topics of today because of the eloquent nature of Barrister Mungwa. He almost tried diverting over. Thank you. Let me come back to the question.
Those were just the elements linking to the topic that we have on the table.
I understood better. Well, let's look at the parliament. What is the function? What are the functions of the members of parliament? They are to vote bills, make laws, propose, and scrutinize government action. That is what we expect from them. And they being in parliament and having a congress was just a time instead to do 1 or 2 things that is available, and that was extremely their constitutional right, and they are legitimate. They had to go in, and the 3 bills that were there, what were the reasons? We should talk about the motivations behind the bills. For instance,
2 bills of extension, the motivation is that there's no money to carry out elections.
And that is what for the general interest of the state.
Okay.
And that one was something everybody, even Barrister Mungwa there and even President Joe, we are facing the problem, the shortcomings of the election and every other thing. And the economy as well is going down. So the government tabled a bill which actually went to the House of our representatives who were duly elected in 2020. How can you say that they're doing nonsense? Let's be facing facts. Let's be serious. They are there to represent us. And that is why we voted for them to go there and actually act in accordance to the law and to the aspirations of the people.
Please, when you talk about finances, I want to talk.
I'm coming. Just note it.
Yes. So the bills that were tabled, we saw it is according to the exigencies of our time, especially the one which is much talked about, the creation of the post of the vice president. Cameroon is a growing democracy, and nothing is left, nothing should be tabled, and though only a few cases, what we have all been singing all over the years.
Do we still need that in a bill? Is it not in the Constitution already, Article 66 of the Constitution?
So when was that article, when was this executed?
You shouldn't cut when I'm talking, Barrister. I had to listen to you.
Barrister, I'm coming to you. Just note it down. Yes, you are talking about Article 66.
Those are part
it is already existing in the Constitution. We need to insert it again.
It was existing. If they had to modify it because they had to...
Where is the problem of Article 66?
The problem of Article 66 is that the text of application and other constituent elements were not there. And that is why...
Article 66 has a problem of implementation.
Yes, and that's why it was modified now, and the implementation aspect of it is going to come forward. So we should try to appreciate, look at it from the... You are a legal personality, and I expected you to look at the legal structure, the legal implications of what was done in Parliament.
Okay.
It was the Minister of Justice, lawyers who were consulted. I'm sure he was even consulted.
Emmanuel, before I take the mic from you,
just 1 minute, please.
The post of the Vice President, did you read through the dispositions? Do you have any worry with any of the dispositions? Or everything is okay?
I read through. We had in mind that the post of the Vice President could be implemented, or the Constitution could be implemented later on. But when it was brought to the Parliament, they talked about appointing the post of the Vice President. Now, it has been adopted, and there's no way why...
You are not answering my question. Yes. As an individual, whether it was adopted or not adopted, Emmanuel, when you read through the dispositions, do you have any worry with any of the dispositions?
I am actually okay, because the representative of our Parliament, they actually handled it, an expert, the law expert we consulted.
Emmanuel, you are dodging away from my question.
Please allow me
let's assume you were one of the representatives of the people.
Yes.
Do you have any problem with any of the dispositions tabled that concerns the post of Vice President?
Not yet.
Okay, thank you so much.
No, let me just say something.
Okay.
Just 1 minute.
Just briefly, please.
Emmanuel, let me tell you something. Political demagogy is what has kept this country stagnating
until today.
Moment. And we have to be very careful when we are on platforms like this. We are in a country, you are telling us, and your classmates, your political members or party militants are listening. The budget of this country was voted in December. Do you know what they call a budget of a country?
I do.
The budget of the country is tailored according to the expectations to be attained, according to a program that the country outlines to achieve financially. And you are telling us that parliamentarians will go and vote, and the motivation is that there is no money. If you are an intellectual and you sit on this platform, you think we can swallow that hook and sinker, it is wrong, because you are derailing, and if not,
Barrister,
you are corrupting.
Please,
you
I'm
are
coming to you.
corrupting the public mind, and this is what your party has passed the time 43 years doing and polluting the minds of people. I am not a politician, but I tell you, the budget of this country was tailored for any other activity that was supposed to take place, including the elections. So there is no way that you could motivate the extension of members of municipal councillors, members of parliament, because there was no budget for the country.
Okay.
It's so shameful to hear
Thank you. Just to say that he's talking about the budget of 2026, and we equally look back to the budget of 2025 because elections were supposed to take place in 2025.
Yes.
So, Enes Akufo, post of Vice President, good news or creation of more problems?
Hyncenth, when you see at times when things go above you, just give a smile. Is that? All of a sham, though. It's a sham. Because what happened in Congress and the Assembly, it's just as if Cameroonians have been bundled and then hypnotized and kept in a corner, and a handful are manipulating them. It's regrettable what we hear and see in this country. At times, I feel not to have a sense of belonging, but I say you can never change the blood because it is in your stream, and you were born in this triangle. There is a lot of sycophancy and bootlicking at Parliament. When you talk about the post of Vice President, Hyncenth, it beats my imagination how you tell me that a president will appoint a Vice President, and in case the person who appointed the Vice President passes on, the Vice President appoints a Vice President. With which power? Anyway, when I equally looked at the in-depth of the dispositions of the Vice President, it is said he can only be delegated by the President to assume certain functions.
Yes, the President defines the functions of the Vice President.
This is an aberration.
Total aberration.
It is as if we are living in a world where you have only fools and dooms which have been packed in a corner, and then my heart bleeds. Yes, it bleeds. Because I had expected that if this post of Vice Presidency was coming up, we'll be getting back to the 1972 Constitution. It was clearly stated there. I don't want to come back to that. They know all of that. Well, some Cameroonians may want to know what all of that stipulates. The alternation of power. Francophone, Anglophone. If a Francophone is president, the vice should be Anglophone. But that was carefully...
And vice versa.
Vice versa. But that was carefully stripped off. Nevertheless, we should know that inasmuch as a vice president can be appointed, so too can he or she be disappointed at any time. And then the worst thing in that bill is there is male chauvinism therein. Yes, because in the interpretation of the law, thank God barrister is there, the Englishman will talk of he or she, but the French will say il, because ill in the French language dominates over the female, even if the female are 1,000 and there is only one ill amongst them, which is too bad. Those are the nuances and the dark spots of the law, which is supposed to be cleared. So this issue of vice presidency, which has been much talked on social media, conventional media, and we're talking about it here, I think it was a big slap on the face of Cameroonians. And no matter who comes up like an appointed person to that position, he or she will have no power. Because there is somebody who still dictates what he or she does. It's rather regrettable.
Thank you so much. Emmanuel, you were pointing out the role of MPs. I want us to dive into that role now. I want us to paint a picture, because if we don't have the problem, we will not look for a solution. I want us to paint a picture. What is the picture between the picture of the relationship between the MPs and the people they represent, especially in the Northwest and Southwest, where we know the context is very, very difficult. Let me begin with you.
Hyncenth, before going to the question, I want to tell our televiewer that there's no lack of money in Cameroon. Martin Luther King once said that, be truth to what you say to people. I'm telling the government of Cameroon now that we can organize election, we can finance our budget just by leaving 2 francs per minute of calls and connection. Per day we do minimum of 120 millions of minutes of call, times 4 francs is 480 million, times 20 million subscribers were 96 billion, times 30 days it is 2,880 billion. Please be serious. This is our country. We were born Cameroonian, we will live Cameroonian, we will die Cameroonian.
Okay. Thank you. Go to my question now, please. We don't have much time.
Now, if I want to come back to your question, I'm very sad. Because you see, Hyncenth, those who are MPs, no relation between their contracts, look for understand that somebody is an elected MPs from Northwest and Southwest, knowing seriously that red zone. You know, I usually say that when the coffin is not in your parlor, you think that world keeping is a celebration.
That probably.
I don't know if they are really concerned about what is going in our area. I was talking about Kupe Manongoba earlier. To move from Lum to Tombel, from Tombel to Nyasoso, Nahilili. No matter of road. To move from Ebonji to Nguti.
It's a nightmare.
Massa, what's the problem? Do you think that the main concern of a parliamentarian is to go in the parliament and say, we are there to vote law? You are there to vote law which are in the interests of the population you claim to represent.
Okay.
And it is very important what I'm saying. Late President Aijo said that if you are a civil servant, you are a parliamentarian or a mayor, not meeting again the concerns of your population, you are committing a betrayal to your nation.
Okay.
And today, we cannot understand why rubber is 36,000 per meter cube, whereas we are buying tires more than 385,000 one tire. We cannot understand how our cocoa from Fako, from Meme, from Manu, from Jiang, is now passing through Nigeria because you people have created war to make business. I may not be of a word telling you this. When we'll be in power, we will enact a law to fire those who are committed those type of crimes.
Thank you, Dieudonné. Barrister Mungwa, we are looking at this picture. All of us, we come from constituencies.
Yes.
My constituency, I don't remember when last I heard that my MP was in my place. So is it, what is the picture like in the Northwest and Southwest today?
No, I have told you, Hyncenth, and we severally on this same platform, I personally, I decry it. It's not an opinion. because some of us are more closer to the constituents more than those who are acclaiming that they voted them. Their problems are brought to us first because they don't know where to put their positions or their concerns. Hyncenth, if you count the number of MPs and the mayors that are in the Northwest region, there are virtually, their constituencies are in Yaoundé, and they are enriching birth certificates, everything, they do them here. Some even come and sit in the park, and they call people, they deliver documents. This is the worst of it that has ever happened. For this country, and for the regime to have allowed politics to go through the Northwest and the Southwest region during the crisis, is one of the worst things that they've ever done to the Southern Cameroonians. Everything is done with the military. Ballot stuffing, it is done with the assistance of the military. In my village, the last elections, I talked with authority and audacity. That is when you see the MP, heavily guarded, giving instructions to the military as if he has attended a military college.
Like a commander.
Like a commander. This is what my brother said, an aberration. It is out of scale to satisfy who? To come back to Yaoundé and give a different narration that there is peace in that region. The day of reckoning is not far, because the crisis in the Northwest region, he talked about finances, organizing the elections, but he does not have the courage to tell you how much the state costs out in order to sustain the crisis in the Northwest and the Southwest region. He wouldn't tell you that you have people that have burned their offices in Yaoundé. There are some even in the Ministry of Defense that have created their pockets of extortions in the region. Like my brother said, it is now war economy. And in fact, the development that you see even at the level of Mendankwe today, upstation, it is significant. It points to something. Who are those who earn that? Parliamentarians who have told you, our parliamentarians, they pretend and have been feeding Yaoundé with the wrong message. But since Yaoundé relies on them and had handpicked them to use them as an instrument to demonstrate that there is peace in the country. And when they talk about it, you remember, I'm not going to jump into it. When a visitor is coming into the country, everybody is celebrating. We want peace in the country. Because the country itself is unable. Truth is not told by those people who call themselves parliamentarians. No. Schools are not going on. They vote budgets. As I talk to you, it's on social media, yet to confirm information that the mayor of Konye and a group of persons have been brought over to Tese Yaoundé. You confirm that information.
Yes.
And these are the same people that have been speaking for the ruling party. I hate to talk about parties. I really hate to talk about that. But I'm obliged to say it. If the president of this country really thought about the good of the Northwesterners and Southwesterners, he wouldn't have allowed elections, they would have allowed elections to take place in the Northwest and the Southwest in 2018 and the other elections that came up. And especially, you can see what is happening in the region.
Are you saying that there is a problem between the legality and the legitimacy of the leaders?
Of course, yes. Yes. The population of the Northwest drifted. They killed undocumented deaths in the Northwest. I would tell you, some hunters went out before they knew they were crossing skeletons. It is bad what we are talking, Hyncenth. And the concerns of the people of the Northwest and the Southwest region has been dampened by some people they call them parliamentarians. Where do they stay? In Douala. It becomes their constituency. The same people that they said they voted them, the majority is in Douala. But during elections, those same they what a paradox. Okay. And we sit and we accept it. And the international community is looking. We are telling the world that we are a peaceful country. This is where we have the issues. And that is why we are saying that A parliamentarian normally, and the mayor is supposed to be beside his people. He is supposed to be beside his people, feel the pain of his people. No, take it, you are a guide of your people.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You are the shepherd of the people.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Before I come to you, Ernest Akufo, I have a series of messages, but let me just take one. Good afternoon to you guys in the studio. Sir, please, the MPs in the Northwest were elected by the crisis, and they are there to represent themselves and not their people who are suffering. That's coming from Winka Edwin in Fumbot. Ernest Akufo, when you listen to the picture, the two panelists this way are pointing, what then happens to the role of the voice of the voiceless that these MPs are supposed to be carrying?
Hyncenth, I want to say, when I listen to their arguments, I will still say my heart bleeds because the elections,
in bracket.
yes, the elections we had in 2018 and those of 2025, they were just a cacophony, right? Yes, a jumble. Because the electoral code doesn't talk of polling camps, it talks of polling station. But in those areas, few polling camps are made. So that's a violation. But I hope you take that down. And, yes, because you cannot, that was a violation of the law. The law was violated there. And nobody talked about it. The electoral code doesn't talk of polling camps. It talks of polling stations.
Yeah.
Yet, for the past 2 years, 2 elections have barely been managed in camps. How do you take somebody from Awing to go and vote in Santa on the polling day with all of the danger you know it is there?
Yeah.
Who takes responsibility to foot the bills, security-wise? And then talk less of the people whom we claim they were elected. They don't represent anything at all. Because if they represented the people, they could have talked with the people, and all of the wahala we are having now will not have it any longer. But you see, since they care for their stomachs, they care for their families, they care for their friends and the like, they represent virtually nothing. Because when you look at whether they still talk the law, they don't talk any law. They prevail. You see, when the bill on the extension of their mandate came up, it sailed through. They were even waiting for it.
They threw a party.
And most of them did parties.
They threw a party, yes.
Yes, most of them did parties. And you see, when you...
And I remember the MPs of the ruling party, some of them threw slams on the opposition that they should resign if they are not comfortable with it.
So I'm saying that, you see, somebody by law is elected to be there for 5 years. Finally, the person serves on that position for 7 years. This is
yeah.
Yes, it's horrible.
1 minute.
Okay.
1 minute. In 1 minute, I will forget it. And I want to stand on your shoulder by saying that some of those MPs, even to go in Southwest and Northwest, they pay those voices to come there.
That's it.
And most of them are paying tribute.
That is an allegation.
No, please. No, it's not an allegation.
It's
not alleged. It is not alleged.
Allow me to speak.
An allegation?
It's not an allegation, please.
MPs, and we have said it even on platforms.
We have
here.
family there.
They pay the voices before they get to get to their constituencies.
Emmanuel.
Should we put to it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Emmanuel, who are the MPs of the Northwest paying allegiance to? Party discipline as priority or the people they represent?
Once voted an MP, let me say it clean and clear. Once voted an MP, using the party's ticket, everything about the party has been left aside. You become an MP, a parliamentarian of the nation.
That's a fallacy.
I am talking, sir. I'm talking.
That's a fallacy.
Is that what it's supposed to be, or that is what it is?
That is what it is. Become a parliamentarian of the nation. When you get to the glass house, you defend any law you are doing is for national interest, not for the interest of the party or not for your personal interest, but for the interest of the whole community, starting from your community and the nation at large. So we should not narrow out things to think that the party, because somebody went under the banner of the CPDM, the CPDM is going to instruct him or her, an MP, not to do what is supposed to be done at the National Assembly. We are going to say the same thing. The MPs are there.
We can never say the same thing.
I am saying that saying. We are saying this. The MPs are there to vote for laws.
But we are not saying the same thing, sir.
I am talking, barrister.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you and I are not saying the same thing.
Yeah, we are not on the same wavelength.
You listen to me talk, barrister.
We are not saying the same thing, sir.
Do we agree that there are MPs, ever since they voted in 2020, they have not had any conversation with their people? There are people who do not even know their
Imaginez, vous êtes en plein match.
Ces 5 dernières minutes assez apocalyptiques.
Ou plongé dans votre série préférée.
On est au 21e siècle.
Et soudain, une coupure d'électricité.
Samuel ne sera plus votre esclave.
C'est la balle pour sortir.
Pas de panique, nous avons la solution. Powerful. Powerful, c'est le téléviseur intelligent, rechargeable, doté d'une autonomie de 4 heures pour vous garantir du divertissement sans interruption. Profitez d'une image exceptionnelle en 4K, Ultra HD et de toutes vos applications grâce à son système Smart Android intégré. Avec son décodeur TNT et satellite embarqué, accédez à vos chaînes favorites où que vous soyez. Même en cas de coupure de courant, attention, il fonctionne aussi aux panneaux solaires. Désormais, vivez la télévision en toute sérénité avec Powerful, le téléviseur intelligent rechargeable. Canal 2 International. Du lundi au vendredi sur Canal 2 International.
Votre demande de divorce est rejetée. Votre dossier n'ira pas devant le juge. Dehors, vous portez vos masques. Vous souriez pour la famille, pour les voisins, pour l'église. Mais quand cette porte se referme, éclairez la République sur les faits qui vous amènent.
Je refuse de nous laisser sombrer.
Maître, elle a passé la nuit dehors.
Une femme mariée, mère de famille, ne traîne pas dans les bars et les boîtes de nuit jusqu'à l'aube.
Alors qu'est-ce que tu voudrais de plus? Que je te dise des poèmes?
Je demande seulement bénédiction. Tout ce que je veux, c'est une porte avec une serrure.
S'il te plaît, Vivi, donne-moi une dernière chance.
Il n'y a plus de dernière chance. Tu n'es pas un malade. Tu es une maladie. On ne donne pas de dernière chance à un cancer. On l'éradique.
Une bonne crise de larmes comme ça nettoie tout.
Perdre un enfant est la plus difficile des douleurs, ça je vous le concède. Ça laisse une cicatrice à vie, une cicatrice qu'on ne peut pas cacher, même avec du make-up.
J'ai perdu le plus gros procès de ma vie la semaine dernière.
Comme si absolument rien ne s'était passé.
J'essaye de nous faire avancer.
Tu as effacé son existence.
Je suis une autorité spirituelle dans mon foyer, établie par Dieu lui-même.
Et votre autorité spirituelle s'arrête là où mon code pénal commence.
Lundi sur Canal 2 International.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonjour, bienvenue sur Planète Verte Environnement. L'air que nous respirons dans nos grandes métropoles est alarmant, pollué par la destruction de nos espaces verts, mais également par la prolifération des déchets.
Une ville comme Douala, par exemple, devrait avoir des arbres fruitiers qui reflètent le climat dans lequel nous vivons.
Le Cameroun déverse par jour 3000 tonnes de déchets à Douala. Est-ce que vous savez qu'avec 70% de ces déchets biodégradables, on peut alimenter tout Douala en énergie?
Planète Verte Environnement vous propose une balade dans les savoirs du berceau de la météorologie camerounaise.
Les inondations qui sont justement le visage meurtrier des catastrophes dans la ville de Douala exposent beaucoup de populations.
On ne saurait faire aucune prévision météorologique sans au préalable l'observation.
En matière de climat et de météorologie, un seul pays ne peut pas lutter contre leurs conséquences.
Le gouvernement camerounais met un accent particulier sur le développement des infrastructures.
Nous espérons que vous ferez bon usage des informations reçues, souhaitons une bonne prise de conscience.
Dimanche sur Canal 2 International.
Ils sont beaux les pieds de ceux qui annoncent la bonne nouvelle.
Hey Gospel.
Vivez de magnifiques moments d'épanouissement et de recherche.
Un des plus grands pièges aujourd'hui qu'on pourrait avoir, c'est aimer l'œuvre de Dieu plus que le Dieu de l'œuvre.
Nous sommes appelés par Dieu pour le servir, pas pour le rendre service.
Savourez de belles trouvailles du Gospel 237.
Argent, voiture, salaire. J'ai quitté la gloire de mes performances pour la gloire de ta grâce.
Beaucoup de bonne humeur pour vous par Christ Jésus.
Hey.
Tous les dimanches, 10h sur Canal 2 International avec Patricia Kei.
Canal 2 International.
La Liga revient pour la 31e journée qui promet du spectacle. Entre course au podium et lutte pour le maintien, chaque point compte. Bonjour à tous, bienvenue à Zoom. Aujourd'hui, à 17h30, le FC Barcelone, leader du classement et en forme olympique, affronte l'Espagnol Barcelone qui connaît une saison difficile. Des performances récentes préoccupantes avec 3 matchs nuls et 2 défaites sur leurs 5 derniers matchs. C'est sans surprise que les Blaugrana sont les grands favoris de cette rencontre avec 1,28 de cote contre 8,20 pour l'Espagnol Barcelone. Et à 20h, le FC Séville accueille l'Atlético de Madrid pour un duel captivant. Avec un bilan négatif qui les place 17e, le FC Séville joue sa survie en Liga. Pour éviter la relégation, ils devront élever leur niveau pour venir à bout de l'Atlético de Madrid qui est bien installé à la 4e place. Que nous disent les cotes? 2,46 pour l'Atlético de Madrid contre 3,0 pour le FC Séville et 3,10 c'est la cote du match nul. Toutes ces rencontres et bien d'autres sont disponibles sur la plateforme pmuc.cm où vous trouverez les meilleures cotes sur le marché. Zoom, c'est tout pour aujourd'hui. À la semaine prochaine pour un nouveau numéro. Au revoir.
Canal 2 International.
Ce programme vous est offert par Bruni.
Bonjour à tous et à toutes et bienvenue dans ma cuisine. Si vous avez été avec nous depuis le début de cette émission, vous saurez que nous parcourons les 10 régions pour découvrir les mets du terroir. Aujourd'hui, on va continuer avec un mets assez connu dans toutes les maisons. On le prépare ici et là, peu importe la tribu. Je ne vous en dis pas plus et je vous invite à commencer avec moi notre nouvelle aventure culinaire. Coup de foudre, c'est parti! Vous êtes amateur de cuisine, vous êtes passionné de mets traditionnels, vous êtes au bon endroit. Notre émission, c'est pour vous aider non seulement nous avons devant nous les ingrédients que nous